Hello everyone and welcome at our 10th meeting with Science News. Today's episode is inspired by an article in Chemical and Engineering News on the importance of car glass, both in terms of its properties as a functional material in cars, but also in terms of its recycling as a material that is produced in large volumes. Car glass is an important component of cars, which performs a number of functions in terms of car structure, car aesthetics, and car safety. Therefore, there are numerous requirements on the properties of glass that is being used in cars. It should also be noted that there is an increasing number of cars being produced in the world, as has been true especially in the years before the COVID-19 pandemic happened in year 2020, and is likely to continue in the coming years as things get back to normal. This increase in car production, of course, also means the need for increasing production of car glass. This in turn leads to the need for solving the issues of how to deal with the car glass from used cars in the car glass recycling and other end-of-use options. The glass used in cars is of the soda lime glass type, one of the most common glass types used in the world these days. This type of glass is made from silicon dioxide, from sand, sodium carbonate, soda ash, and potassium carbonate, limestone as the main components. Other chemical components are then added to car glass mixtures to give it its specific properties. For example, oxide of iron and compounds of other metals are added to modify the optical properties of car glasses. As was mentioned before, one of the key aspects to consider with car glass is the safety, because in the case of a crash or an impact, glass windows can break, and it is important to avoid injury to the passengers. This is solved by two different types of glass being used in cars. For the side windows, the type of glass that is being used is called tempered glass. This is glass that is produced or modified by heating to a high temperature after producing the glass slide, and then a rapid cooling down after this heating phase. This tempering process produces internal strains within the glass structure, as the outside of the glass cools much faster than the inside during the cooling process, which then leads to a specific way of breaking of the glass upon impact into small and relatively blunt pieces. On the other hand, the glass used for front and back windshields is made from a material called laminated glass, which is made from two layers of glass interspaced within a vinyl polymer interlayer. This composition of the windshield glass results in glass that upon impact and shattering remains connected to the vinyl interlayer and doesn't produce free pieces of glass. It should also be noted that new types of glass with improved mechanical properties are being developed. One example of these is the Gorilla Glass developed by Corning. This glass owes its improved properties to an improved process of its manufacture, as well as to different chemical composition. In terms of the chemical modification of the properties of this glass, this is achieved by ion exchange of the sodium ions present in the glass with potassium ions from a solution which is brought to contact with the produced glass element. Finally, as mentioned before, the large amount of car glass being produced raises the questions of the recycling of this glass for cars that are being taken out of use. And in terms of recycling of tempered glass from the side windows of cars, there isn't a big issue, as this glass can be recycled with the usual recycling procedures for glass. On the other hand, recycling of the laminated glass from windshields is a more challenging problem, as the glass is adhered onto the polymeric interlayer, and the separation of these different materials is challenging. However, given the amount of material that needs to be recycled, there is significant economic driver for processes to be developed, and some of them are now being implemented. These processes are mainly based around systematic mechanical modulation of the material, which results in a significant separation of the glass and polymer materials, in the end giving us all the component materials so that they can be recycled or used for other uses. As we have seen, glass is an important part of cars, both in terms of their function, safety, aesthetics, and it's also an important material that needs to be considered in terms of its environmental impact and its recycling potential. Thank you for your attention today, and see you again next time.